Today, we're going to talk about one of West Virginia's most beloved cryptids that is internationally known. No, not the Mothman. Today we are going to talk about the Flatwoods Monster, and more importantly, how the Flatwoods Monster became such an important part of Japanese pop culture. It's a really, really interesting topic. If you've ever signed a petition to try and make part of Braxton County, West Virginia, a cryptid wildlife sanctuary, smash that subscribe button. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm the Best Virginian. I do West Virginia history and travel videos, dip a little bit into true crime. Today, gonna be dipping a little bit into the paranormal, all from right here in the mountain state of West Virginia. Today, we are going to go down to Braxton County. We're going to go to Flatwoods and then to Sutton, because today we are talking about the Flatwoods Monster, the Green Monster, the Braxton County Monster, Braxxie, whatever you know this creature as, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So our story begins in the late summer of 1952, more specifically September 12th, 1952. A group of boys were playing football in the Flatwoods Elementary schoolyard when they saw this fiery object, this pulsating red object, streak across the sky and land behind a nearby farm. Two of the boys, Freddie and Eddie May, who I can't believe no one has made a Hardy Boys book series about. Maybe that's what I'll do eventually. Maybe I'll start writing a series of mystery books based here in the Appalachians with Freddie and Eddie May. Between where they were playing football and this farm where it landed was the May household. They went, they got their mother, she got a flashlight, and this group of boys, along with Kathleen, the May boy's mother, and a dog, started embarking towards where this object they believe landed, some quarter-mile away. Now, when they crested the hill where they last saw this object, what they saw would really become a major part of the legend of the Flatwoods Monster. They saw a pulsating red object shadowed in a thick mist that stung their nose and throats. Now, besides this large pulsating red object, they saw two smaller glowing objects in a nearby wooded area. When they shined the flashlight on it, what they ended up seeing was a 10-foot tall creature with glowing red eyes, a spade-shaped head, and a green middle dress-like covering. Before they could do anything, the creature emitted a hissing sound before rushing towards the group of humans, which caused the group to flee back down the hill to the May residence. Kathleen May, upon reporting home, contacted the sheriff and the local newspaper. That night, the sheriff went out to investigate, but he only reported a lingering metallic odor. The next morning, the only thing that remained were a few elongated tracks and an identifiable odd gummy deposit. Now, initially, the tracks were believed to be part of some type of UFO object, although that was debunked. A lot of people thought that the hill wasn't used readily for vehicle traffic until an individual came forward and said that after hearing about this that night, him and his daughter actually took, I believe, a truck over the hill looking for the monster, because at this point there was no Netflix. There was no Orange is the New Black. If you were at home bored on a summer evening and you wanted something to do, you hoped that some fiery object would land in your neighborhood. Now, with all of these monster hunters and UFO researchers in the area, two more groups of people came forward with accounts of encountering the Flatwoods Monster. A week prior, a mother and daughter claimed they saw the creature. They confirmed its appearance. Again, this was also a large, 10-ish foot tall creature with a spade-shaped head or helmet of some type. And its appearance along with this lingering metallic odor. The daughter actually had to be hospitalized for trauma and eyes and respiratory irritation. The mother claimed she spent most of the night after the encounter vomiting and actually had a sore throat that lasted several weeks. Now, people in the initial group of boys and the mother also claim to have some eye and throat irritation due to this lingering mist. And this has caused a lot of people to believe that what was actually encountered may have been some type of biological weapon, maybe similar to that of mustard gas, maybe some type of tear gas. That has really been brought forward as a hypothesis to kind of explain. Now, the day after this mother and daughter had a run-in with this creature, on September 13th, about 20 miles south in Strange Creek, West Virginia, which is kind of ironic, there was another supposed encounter with this creature. Honestly, this one, if you know where Strange Creek is, it's kind of on the border of Braxton County and Clay County. And things get kind of weird down around Clay County. The Snatoskis were traveling through the super rural area between Braxton County and Clay County with their 18-month-old son when their car suddenly died. They tried restarting it, nothing worked, and they were just kind of sitting there trying to figure out what to do next when their son started crying and they noticed a foul, sulfuric, stinging odor in the air. Then a bright light pierced the darkness of the rural back road, and the couple saw a 10-foot creature in front of their vehicle. Now, this creature was different. It didn't have the spade-shaped hood. It wasn't wearing the metallic dress-like structure. It was very bony, very scaly, and almost lizard-like in its appearance. It appeared in front of their vehicle and kind of ran its scaly, clawed hand over the hood of their vehicle before disappearing into a wooded area nearby. Shortly after that, they were able to start their car and they just sped off. They didn't even bother thanking this monster for jump-starting their car telepathically. You know, what are you gonna do? But with these 3 encounters, all within, a couple of weeks, the legend of the Flatwoods Monster was ultimately set in stone. And various publications and UFO societies would share and republish these stories about this Flatwoods creature, and it would become internationally known. Now, probably nowhere is the Flatwoods Monster more famous than in Japan. I would say the Flatwoods Monster is more famous in Japan than here in West Virginia. He has made several appearances in video games, at least 5 major video game appearances over the years, and 1 anime appearance. These include games like Wild Arms, Majora's Mask, probably the most famous, but also there's an episode of Sergeant Frog where an alien makes an appearance that is known as 3 meters. Of course, that is in reference to the 10-foot tall monster, because everywhere else uses meters. We're the only country that uses feet. And I spent several days actually researching into this. Like, how did the Flatwoods Monster make this jump from this rural town in West Virginia to the land of the rising sun? And it was an interesting study. In my own personal opinion, I believe it has to do with this period shortly after the Second World War. During this time period, several Western activities like professional wrestling and baseball would rapidly rise in popularity in Japan. Along the same time, amateur flying saucer societies were also popular in the United States, and somehow they made the jump, along with professional wrestling, along with baseball, over to Japanese pop culture. ARPO, which is the Aerial Phenomenon Research Organization, was founded in the United States in 1952 and is credited as one of the first American UFO societies, really UFO societies as a whole. And within 3 years, Japan would have their own Flying Saucer Research Society with the Japan Flying Saucer Research Association. So within actually less than 3 years, Japan would start adopting Flying Saucer Research Societies. Now there's various reasons for this. The Japanese actually love the paranormal, but more specifically, the oral tradition of retelling ghost stories and paranormal encounters orally. It is, at this time period, a way they spend many of the hot summer nights either telling stories or traditionally visiting family castles and cemeteries, looking for paranormal entities, ghosts, things like that. And really, with the introduction of UFOs and flying saucers, the Japanese just kind of added that to another layer of paranormal research. Instead of just spending summer nights going to some of these older castles and cemeteries and things like that, they would begin, looking to the skies to see if they could find visitors from other worlds. It's kind of cool. I've talked before about some of the similarities in between West Virginia and Japanese culture, and it was really interesting to see that there is this common thread of, oral ghost storytelling that plays a pivotal role in both societies. It was really interesting, really fun to learn about. And eventually, the Flatwoods Monster would actually transcend in Japanese pop culture to the point where a lot of people, they recognize the Flatwood Monster itself, but they don't connect it to, the creature from this little town in rural West Virginia. But I mean, let's be completely honest. This guy right here definitely looks like something you would see in a manga or an anime. I could definitely see Astro Boy duking it out with the Flatwoods Monster. No matter where you're from, I recommend that if you're ever in the area, you stop by the Braxton County Visitor Center in Sutton, West Virginia, which is home and doubles as the world-famous Flatwoods Monster Museum. It's a museum dedicated to all things related to the monster that once lurked the woods, maybe still does, around Braxton County. And Braxxie Cat does an excellent job providing tours. Adorable cat that they have there. And seances are strictly forbidden. I'm not going to ask any questions. I believe signs exist for a reason. And, yeah, so if you find yourself there, leave a little bit of a tip. Maybe they can buy some cat treats, maybe some catnip or cat grass for Braxxie Cat, and leave your Ouija boards at home. Guys, this has been a fun episode. I hope you learned something. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment if there's any additional input, if you have any information on how the Flatwoods Monster made it over to Japan, definitely leave it down there in the comments. If there's anywhere else in West Virginia or any cryptids that you would like to see me talk about in a future episode, leave that down in the comments. But again, thank you for checking out this video, making it this far. Don't forget to stay wild, stay wonderful, and I'll talk to you in the next one.